Seminar Group 1, and our topic is understanding the regulators, their challenges, characteristics, and their roles. Stay tuned and click follow, share. Thank you very much.
Bye.
I am Adora Christiana Mwangaranya, and our topic today is understanding the regulators, their challenges, characteristics, and roles, using NBC, BON, and APCON as a case study. First of all, what is regulation? Regulation, according to Collins Dictionary, are rules made by a government or other authority in order to control the way something is done or the way people behave. Regulation in broadcasting refers to a set of rules and principles by government to monitor and control broadcasting content and their media organization. By broadcasting regulation, we refer to political decisions and legal and economic instruments by which broadcasting activities, mainly radio and television services, directed at a mass audience, are governed. These instruments include laws, rules, statutes, concessions, licenses, and traditions, as well as international law, conventions, directives, and policy making. All these instruments make up the legal, economic, political, and social frameworks within which broadcasting activities are carried out. Now, who are the regulators? Regulators refer to those government bodies or organizations set up and armed with rules and principles to monitor and control broadcasting content and their media houses. They will have popular regulators, which are Federal Communication Commission, FCC in the United States of America. We have the Office of Communication, Ofcom, in the United Kingdom, Nigeria Broadcasting Commission, NBC for Nigeria, and Advertising Regulatory Council, among others. History of broadcasting regulation. The first official attempt by the US to regulate broadcasting occurred in 1910, when Congress enacted the Wireless Ship Act to ensure maritime safety. The Wireless Ship Act required a radio and an accompanying skilled operator to be on board every passenger vessel. However, the legislation did not require the operator to be on duty 24 hours a day, an oversight that became tragically evident when an operator on a nearby ship was not on duty to receive distress call from the Titanic on April 14, 1912. Consequently, Congress tried again. They continued to try to regulate broadcasting until the creation of the Federal Communications Commission, FCC, in the year 1934 under the Telecommunication Act of 1996. This body was established by the United States Congress and empowered to regulate radio, television, and telephone communication. The FCC is all-powerful as far as the regulation of broadcasting in the United States is concerned, and because broadcasting is equally powerful in American society, the FCC has a profound influence on the life of every member of the society.
Good day, everyone. My name is Chijoke Nathaniel Ibidi, and I'm going to continue from where my colleague Adora stopped. She talked about what is regulation, who are the regulators, and I'm going to be talking about the reasons for regulation and then the rules of these regulators. So let's first of all discuss about the reasons for regulation. Now, we all know that the media, both the broadcast and the print media, is one agency or industry in the nation that is not to be joked with, and this is why the government is always and very much interested in it. So now, because the government is interested in it, and because it is an industry that cannot be overlooked in the country, it has become a worry to the government, and in that way they have decided to come in to control its activities by creating an agency to control and to make policies for the broadcasting content and broadcasting industry on its own. So now you now ask yourself, what are the reasons? One major reason is that the airwaves, which is called the electromagnetic spectrum, is a scarce public resource, and because it is a scarce public resource, this is why the government is very much interested in regulating and controlling it. Furthermore, another reason for this is that the broadcast media, unlike the print media, is perceived to have power in terms of driving public opinion, influencing the people's choice. You all can agree with me that if you place broadcast media and print media together, you would see, and you're trying to check out which of these media formulates choices and opinions from people more, you will see that it's the broadcast media because of its reach and it's the power it has. Both visuals and sounds appeals to the audience so much. Yes, so now this is why the government is very, very much interested in regulating it, because of that power it has to influence public opinion. Now, how did the government do this? In the totalitarian regime, like the Soviet Union, the government came in by owning these media organizations. So it was called government-owned media organizations, whereby they pushed out their own content, they created their own policy to just make things work in their favor and everything. And then they used something as a defense. They adopted a defense line, which was that they were using it for national development, using it for the betterment of the people and everything. But in one way or the other, they still were controlling the broadcast media. And now, let's not see it as it's just regulatory of the broadcast media is just about ownership. No, it's not just only about ownership. There is the licensing and there is the scrutinization also. So now, what are the rules? These regulators, what roles do they play? Just as Adora mentioned, she said FCC, which is in the United States, NBC in Nigeria, and then we have others, Apricon and Bond, and so on and so forth. What do they do? What exactly do they do? We know that they have a lot of roles, they have a lot of responsibilities to do, but I'm just going to mention 4 key roles that they play wherever, in Nigeria, in the United States, in Britain, wherever it is, they all perform these particular roles. And the first one is what we call monitoring the airwaves. They monitor the airwaves to avoid overcrowding and clash of broadcast stations. That is what they do, because if they don't do this, then there will be overcrowding, the airwaves will be overcrowded and everything. And then secondly, they issue license to broadcast media. This one is something that everyone knows. Yes, when you ask someone, NBC, what do? They issue license. Yeah, it's something that we all know, and yes, that is one of their main functions, also their main responsibilities that they do. And then thirdly, what do? They ensure that the contents which are being aired or broadcasted are healthy for consumption. In terms of children content, in terms of sex, obscenity, indecency, and everything, they make sure that they regulate these things and they know the kind of content that is broadcasted and being broadcasted in these broadcasting medias, and so on and so forth. And then lastly, for the major roles that they play, they punish offenders who go against the rules of broadcast regulations. So for those broadcasters that go against the rules of broadcasting regulations, they punish them either by seizing their licenses or by fining them or by totally shutting them down. Thank you very much.
My name is Yukeria Chinechere Mugudu, and I will be speaking on the NBC. The NBC, known as the National Broadcasting Commission, is the broadcast regulator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The commission was set up on August 24, 1992, by the then military president Ibrahim Babangida, who signed into law the Decree Number 38, which allows private participation in broadcasting. It was later amended as an Act of the National Assembly by Act 55 of 1999 and now known as the National Broadcasting Commission Laws of the Federation. It is headed by Bello Shehu Ilea, the current Director General of the Commission. The NBC has various functions, which are as follows. 1. The National Broadcasting Commission functions as they operate as a body which oversees the activities of the broadcast services in Nigeria. That is, they oversee all the activities that takes place in the broadcast industry. The second is they issue license to various broadcast bodies in Nigeria. No broadcast organization is allowed or permitted to function without the permission from the NBC. Also, the NBC are involved in in the withdrawal of licenses from broadcast organizations when they breach their contract. That is, when they go against the rules of the organization, they are permitted to withdraw their the broadcast license. The MBC are also involved in the settling of disputes between various broadcast organizations. That is, when broadcast organizations have disputes between themselves, the MBC can come in and settle the disputes between both. Also, the MBC regulates the content of broadcast organizations. Any content that is going from any broadcast organization is overseen by the MBC. They don't publish content that are against national unity or that can go against the laws of mass communication in Nigeria.
My name is Chiamaka Rosemary Onwufo, and I'm continuing from where my colleague stopped. I'll be speaking on the MBC code, the challenges of the MBC, and the solutions to those challenges. As we all know, every industry has their own code of conduct, which is the professional day-to-day laid down rules that will enable all things to go smoothly. The same with MBC. The MBC code is the professional standard for the day-to-day operation of the broadcasting industry in Nigeria. This code is guided by transparency, it should be consistent, and it should be in accordance with the best service delivery principles. The code contains regulations that are easy to understand by both the public and the broadcaster. So it's just a rule of law that guides everybody's behavior. There are some certain things that broadcasters should not do and broadcasting stations should not do, and there are certain things that audience listening to them should not also do. This code should be reviewed from time to time because the broadcast system now is not the broadcast system of the totalitarian system or military regime back in the day. So it should be reviewed at regular intervals so that they can eradicate non-practicable things like this. The code should be reviewed from time to time in order to respond to changes and evolving trends in the broadcast industry. The code includes various broadcasting objectives such as political, economical, and so on. And the contents of the code include licensing, broadcast standard, employment policy, broadcast programs and scheduling, broadcast coverage, family belts, program presentation, logbooks, and so on. And also, the Section 311 of the Federal Commissions Act authorized the National Broadcasting Commission to punish or withhold the licenses of stations that did not adhere to this code. So that brings me to the challenges of the MBC. Every organization has these challenges that it faces at every point in time, and MBC as a broadcasting organization is not left out. The first challenge is political and government interference. They are not free. They are not free to do things. They are not free to create their regulations without the interference of the government. Second one is underfunding. Most of the time, they don't have money. They don't have money to carry out the projects which will actually improve this broadcast industry. Then, the third one is lack of manpower. They are not skilled personnel and people. They are not skilled people, and there are shortage of people like to work in MBC because MBC actually does a whole lot of things that require manpower. Lack of infrastructures for monitoring. One of the major functions of MBC is monitoring the radio stations and TV stations, and there are no infrastructures to enable them monitor as much radio stations as possible and TV stations at the same time. So it's also a problem. Then the last but the most important challenge of the MBC is the work of monitoring radio stations and TV stations, because there are many radio stations and TV stations across the nation. So monitoring each of them at the same time is actually not something that can be achieved without any problems. So which brings us to the solutions to these various challenges I've mentioned. The first one is that MBC should give more training to its staff. When they train their staff properly, people can be able to multitask and solve challenges in the shortest time possible. Also, they should choose leaders that can lead the station. They should use objectivity in choosing their leaders so that they can be able to lead the station without fear or favor. They don't want any government interference, and they will make policies that can save them from interference from the government. They should be fully financed whenever they want to embark on a project. They should make sure that they have a constant source of income that can lead them, that can last them through a project, not stopping halfway due to finances. They can also redefine, review, redesign, and redesign its statutory mandates from governments. They should also partner with private broadcast stations so that they can be able to monitor the TV and radio stations more effectively.
Hello, my name is Chagozim Victoria Udabala, and I will be talking about BON. BON basically stands for Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria. Like all my colleagues have said, basically, the main purpose of this conversation is basically to educate people on the regulatory bodies in Nigeria that are in charge of making sure the media gives the right content to the viewer. So both the giver and the receiver, they're all perfectly healthy with information that is flowing in and out. So BON was basically founded to stand more like an umbrella that covers all media organizations, both those that are publicly owned and privately owned. This organization has had a lifespan starting from 1973 till date, and this lifespan has not exactly been very steady. It's had a period of ups and downs, which is why I will give you a brief history of how BON started. In 1973, BON hosted an event which was basically called the All Games Festival, which it's covered in 1973. BON hosted the All African Games, which it covered the events in general. And BON was fully active until the year 1975, which its activities was suspended for 2 years, basically 1975 to 1977, which was under the administration of Murtala Mohammed, which was a military regime. And as we all know, military regime usually follows a suspension of media activities, democracy, and the rest. It was later rebirthed again in 1977 under the administration of Olusegun Obasanjo, which BON basically covered the event held in FESTAC. FESTAC basically stands for the Festival Black African Arts and Culture, which BON hosted in 1977. It covered the event, and throughout 1977 down to 1988, BON struggled with reviving its image. There was back and forth with the organization until eventually it had a steady path in 1988, and this steady path is what we today now know as BON. It has over 100 members, and it also has over 240 radio and TV stations under its umbrella, which they cover events.
My name is Choma Ejikebi, and I'll be speaking on the objectives of BON, one of which is that it sets the standards of operations by its members and monitors the activities that are done by broadcasters. This is to ensure that they are regulated and they do not produce content that is against the ethics that has been set for them. Another thing that they do is that they encourage content and technological innovations. Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria encourages and tries to improve the technological innovations and contents that are being produced on broadcast stations. So they help to encourage the broadcast stations and other broadcasters in the field to come up with more interesting contents and also bring about technological innovations that could help improve broadcasting in Nigeria. Another thing that they do is that they improve the quality and profitability of broadcasting, ensuring that the media stations have enough profits for themselves, and there are new things that come into it that can make it more stable and better as the years go. Also, they encourage the members of their association and the organization to help them know that they serve the community, not just for profits making, but also to serve the community, giving them information that is truthful and very, very important to the public, helping them to be well informed and know what is happening around their vicinity. They serve as a meeting point for terrestrial radios, televisions, and other broadcast mediums, whereby everybody can come together to bring about ideas and innovations that can help the organization and broadcasting in the country to be better. They also help to sustain and create greater cooperation and collaboration among broadcasters, not just the organizations, but also individual relationships between broadcasters in the field. Now, just to note that BON is aimed at improving and becoming the voice of the broadcasting industry in Nigeria. They have the aim of becoming a reckoning force in the broadcasting industry in Nigeria. They are also aimed at making sure that the environment is enabling for not just radio and TV, but also new media platforms that are coming in. That's talking about like podcasts and other online platforms that we can use for improving the broadcasting in Nigeria. And they're also ensuring that the broadcasting industry in Nigeria is going in accordance to the way that the world is moving, bringing in digitalization and other things that can improve our system. So some of the achievements that have been made by the Broadcast Organization of Nigeria is that they have come up with the Broadcasters Hall of Fame, where they give awards to veteran broadcasters in the industry, people that are really doing well, to help them improve and also encourage others to do better in the field. Another achievement of the Broadcast Organization of Nigeria is that they ensured that the NBC's plan to shut down media houses over non-payments of field was cancelled. They helped to ensure that there was a cancellation of the shutting down of organizations that couldn't meet up with the fees they were supposed to pay to the NBC. And they are also actively involved in the consideration of the digital switch over the Senate public hearing. During the Senate public hearing, they also added their thoughts about the digitalization of the broadcast industry in Nigeria. Thank you.
And my name is Akune Miracle Olwebibe, and I'll be talking about the Association of Public Relations Consultants of Nigeria, APCON. This professional organization of public relations practitioners in Nigeria was founded in the early 90s to promote the development of public relations as a profession in Nigeria. APCON over the years has conducted seminars, projects, and conferences and other events to advance the practice of public relations in Nigeria. APCON also worked to promote the ethical standards in the profession. In general, the association's main role is to promote the professional development of public relations practitioners in Nigeria. APCON encourages the high standard of professional competence and ethical conduct among its members. APCON makes sure that their staffs, their members are, well-mannered. They make sure they abide by the ethical responsibility and rules guiding that association. They promote the professional practice of public relations through research, education, and training. On a regular, APCON ensures that its members and its body are up to date concerning matters on public relation affairs in Nigeria. They lobby for the recognition of public relations as a profession in Nigeria. Over years, from 2002 down to 2007, APCON has ensured that their members has been globally recognized, making sure that we Nigerians recognizes their members as public relation practitioners in Nigeria. They provide a code of ethics for public relation practitioners. They have a set of rules, guidelines guiding this association in general here in Nigeria. APCON collaborates with other professional bodies and organizations to advance the profession of public relations. APCON also publishes a newsletter and other publications to inform members and the public about the association's activities and development in the field of public relations.
My name is Judith Okafor, and I'll be throwing more light on APCON. Let's talk about the characteristics of APCON. Now, the Association of Public Relations Consultants of Nigeria is characterized by several key attributes and features, which include 1. Professionalism. APCON is a professional organization and its members are typically public relations consultants and practitioners who adhere to high standard of professionalism in their work. 2. Regulatory body. APCON serves as a regulatory body for PRO in Nigeria and establishing and enforcing ethical and best practice within the industry. 3. Education and training. APCON may offer educational programs, workshops, and training opportunities to enhance the skill and knowledge of its members. 4. Networking. APCON provides a platform for members to network with peers and share knowledge and collaborate on projects and initiatives related to public relations. Now moving on to the challenges of APCON. APCON may encounter similar challenges by other professional organizations which are in the field of public relations. Now some potential challenges can include 1. Regulation and compliance. Ensuring all members adhere to ethical standards and best practices in public relations can be a challenge. APCON may have to monitor and enforce these standards effectively. 2. Membership and growth. Attracting and retaining members, especially in a competitive market, can pose as a challenge for any professional organization at all. 3. Relevance and adaptation. Staying current with industry trends and technologies in order to remain relevant and meet the changing needs of members can pose as a challenge. 4. Technological advancements. Adapting to new communication technologies and digital platforms to effectively serve the interests of members can pose as a challenge to APCON. 5. Public relation challenges. Given that APCON members are typically public relation consultants and practitioners, they may also face common challenges in the field of public relations, such as crisis communication, managing reputation, and client relationship.
My name is Manuela Anubukosa, and I'll be speaking on examples of how the Nigerian Broadcasting Commission has regulated broadcasting channels. For this example, I'll be citing an incident that happened in 2020 when the NBC fined the Nigeria Info 99.3, a radio broadcast channel, with a sum of 5 million naira for using its platform to promote unverifiable and inciting news, which they believe could incite the public and the audiences. This was due to a statement which was made by the former aspirant, in the person of Obadiah Malefia, during a program known as Morning Crew, which aired from hours between 8:30 to 9 a.m. The NBC clarified that Dr. Malefia Obadiah's comment on the Southern Kaduna crisis was false and unverifiable, and for this instance was going to cause a lot of violence in the minds of the public, and also violated several sections of the NBC code. This goes to show just how serious these regulatory bodies are at their jobs. By doing this, the NBC intended to make this serve as a warning to other broadcast channels to deter them from airing any other, violating or insightful views on their channels. Thank you very much.
My name is Divine Inebola, and continuing from where my partner stopped, I will be speaking on another example of how the NBC regulated a broadcast channel. The channel's television, the broadcasting station, was fined and regulated a sum of 5 million naira after they had hosted the former vice presidential candidate Dr. Baba Datsi Ahmed. This was due to his statement when he said that the current president cannot be sworn in due to election irregularities. He urged the Chief Justice of Nigeria not to swear in Bola Tinubu as the president, as Tinubu did not allegedly reach the requirements of the constitution. The fine was contained in a letter addressed to the Chief Executive Officer of the channel's broadcasting station. This is to show the depth of seriousness of which the NBC holds their functions and their codes.
This brings us to the end of our discussion for today. Feel free to comment, ask questions, or make suggestions. Thank you.